But the TTRS Racing Saloons, then, the way that they will line up for what is race 5 of the weekend is as follows. Car number 123, Nigel Innes, in his almost works livery to BMW E36 M3, will start from pole position. And alongside him will be car number 38, which is Carl Catliff. Carl, who claimed a win in one of the races that we had up at Donington Park a few weeks ago. Row 2 of the grid is number 3, which is Stephen Pearson, and alongside him is 3 times a race winner so far this season, number 1, Stuart Waite. The third row of the grid is number 45, Darren Stamp, and alongside him is car number 177, the first non-BMW we have in the field, which is the Vauxhall Astra VXR of Peter Osborne. Row 4 is number 9, that's Brian Jones, another BMW, and alongside him is the Ford Fiesta, car number 161 in the hands of Cliff Pellin, with row 5 of the grid again being an all BMW affair. Car number 100, John Wilcox, the man who does lots of work behind the scenes of this series, and of course behind the scenes of the Toyo Tyres production BMWs that we'll see out later on today for their qualifying session. He sits on the inside of the 5th row of the grid, car number 100, and alongside him is number 10, which is Roger Kneebone. The 6th row of the grid, car number 12, that is the Peugeot 205 of Jason Zenis, and alongside Jason is where we see car number 17, which is William Davidson. Row 7 of the grid, on the inside of the 7th row of the grid, it's the Jag XJS, car number 139, Chris Boone, and number 145, which is David Hunt's BMW, with row 8 of the grid being number 4, the addition to the programme we've just given you, Len Colley. And alongside him is where we see number 6, which is Mark Palmer. Row 9 of the grid, number 78, is James Salmon, and James Salmon has alongside car number 62, which is Andy Gay. Andy Gay at the wheel of his BMW. We're now heading into sort of Class F, which are the production BMWs we'll see out concentrating on their main championship a little bit later on. Row 10 of the grid is car number 110, Sam Strong, and 350, which is Jamie Jeffrey. The 11th row of the grid, number 70, Matthew Newman, and alongside Matthew is car number 27, which is James Vickers, with row 12 being 141, the Mini, in the hands of Richard Ibrahim, and he's got alongside the BMW 1 Series, car number 120, Carl Graves. The 13th row of the grid, 67, Ian Francis, and car number 1919, that's Callum Noble, with the 14th row of the grid being car number 50, Kieran Lehane, and alongside Kieran is number 82, which is Steve Allen. And then the final row of the grid, cars that had problems this morning, one of which was number 22, Ross Stoner, who starts on the 15th row of the grid, and we'll check whether that car does indeed appear or not. And alongside him, a car that actually qualified out of session. We didn't see it at all in the main qualifying session. It arrived and had to do 3 laps over the course of that shortened lunch break. Car number 39, Mike Collins, will line up at the very tail end of the field. And as we look down towards that part of the track at the moment, let's just have a quick look. It looks as though, yeah, Mike Collins is indeed there, but I can't see Ross Stoner's car. I can't see the orange 3 Series there, so I think we may possibly have lost one. So, and in fact, there's also another gap on the grid as well, opposite Jason Dezenis. So let's just have a quick look. That will be William Davidson, car number 17, that's not out, his Class F BMW. But on the basis that it's a Class F car and he'll be concentrating on the production BMW Championship, it may well be that he opts to start from the pit lane and he's just beneath us where we can't quite see him. We'll keep an eye out for him. These cars will be straight off as well. There will be no green flag warming up lap for these cars because, of course, they do run a road tyre, and therefore we should see, once everybody is safely lined up, we should see the green flag being waved at the tail end of the field, and then we're able to get this 15-minute race underway here at Brands Hatch for the Toyo Tyres Racing Saloons. Nigel Innes sitting on pole position, Carl Catliff alongside, and as we await the final countdown being made, we should very shortly get, hopefully, this race underway. What's the board that's being held up now? Can't quite see the order in which they're going up, so we're not that far away. That's the 5-second board going up, I think. So we are about to get this 15-minute race underway for the Toyo Tyres Racing Saloons. So we've had 2 different winners out of the 4 races we've had so far. Nigel Innes and Cole Catliff on the front row of the grid. The red lights are on, and as they go out, it's a very good start from Stuart Waite from the second row of the grid, who's already alongside Cole Catliff and got his nose ahead, but it's going to be Nigel Innes that leads as they head up towards Paddock Hill Bend for the first time. Stuart Waite tried to go all the way around the outside of Cole Catliff. These were the two drivers that took a win apiece at Donington Park, but Stuart Waite has come through up into second position. It was a fabulous start from him. However, Cole Catliff has been able to dive up the inside as they've gone in towards Druids for the first time, and Stuart Waite's got it all to do again now on the run down in towards the braking area for Graham Hill Bend. Side by side for second and third place. They're still side by side coming out of the corner. Almost contact between the two of them as the rear-wheel drive BMW of Cole Catliff almost got out of shape, and that's compromised his run down the Cooper Straight and allowed the orange car of Stephen Pearson to sneak his way through. So Nigel Innes leads the race. Stuart Waite's there in second place. Stephen Pearson in third place, but under pressure from Cole Catliff, who's there in fourth position. Darren Stamp is in fifth place, and completing the top six, it's Brian Jones. So it's all the E36 M3s that are out front as they head over the start-finish line onto lap number 2 of the race, Alan.
Stuart Waite's start was an absolute rocket, wasn't it? Absolutely perfect. No wheel spin, everything. It was just a launch, a real controlled launch off the start line. So he's still there in second place at the moment, but he's going to be side by side and defending that place from Stephen Pearson, who goes, he's got the outside line now as they come down from Druids. That's going to put him on the outside line for the left-hander at Graham Hill Bend. So Stuart Waite remains there in second place. Bit of a wiggle coming out of the corner. 4 cars contesting second place. All of that is allowing Nigel Innes to pull away and continue to pull away at the front of the field. He's already heading through clearways. The battle for second place is just heading into clearways now, and as they come through the corner, Stuart Waite has the advantage. He pulls out to the full left-hand side of the track on the run up towards Clark Curve, and then to the centre of the track over to the left for the approach to Paddock Hill Bend, defending the place because Pearson's all over the back of him as they go through Paddock Hill Bend, but it's still Stuart Waite in second place, Pearson in third place, and the battle for fourth place has now dropped back a little bit with Catliff still defending, and he's defending from the car of Darren Stamp just there behind, and then a bit of a gap before we've got the Golf livery number 9 machine of Brian Jones. So that's 4 cars contesting second place, a solitary 6th place car and a solitary leader, but the leader because he is solitary is able to put in the fastest lap of the race as well. 53.894 has gone the way of car number 1, 2, 3, he being the leader, making his way out of Clark Curve onto the Brabham Straight and about to conclude lap number 3.
Yeah, Nigel Innes just pressing on really and starting to just pull away all of the time from this squabble that's going on for second, third and fourth place. Stuart Pearson in third place tries to brake as late as he possibly can to try and get himself alongside Stuart Waite, but of course as a result of braking that little bit later, he then carries a bit more speed heading in towards Paddock Hill Bend and can only get on the power that little bit later, so everything he gains on the way in, he sort of equalises itself on the way back out of the corner, and the orange car now of Stephen Pearson starting to come under a little bit more pressure from Donington Park winner, that being Cole Catliff. They look very lively on the tail end, don't they, these E36 M3s?
Good cars, aren't they? They're perfect cars.
So this quartet of cars for second, third, fourth and fifth position turn their way through Surtees corner. Again, Stephen Pearson has another nibble. A quick look up the inside of the number 1 car in the hands of Stuart Waite. The door is closed, correctly so, fairly so, by Stuart Waite, who now is going to have to defend again as they come onto the Brabham Straight. Over the start-finish line they'll go. And is this going to be the opportunity for Stephen Pearson to try and pick the pocket of Stuart Waite? No, still he remains in third position. As yet, he can't find a way past. And of course, he's now in that position where he needs to attack and defend at the same time. Yeah,
not a position any driver wants to be in. And look at Catliff having a look at around the outside. So at the moment he's there in third place. Can he make the position stick? Yes, he can. So a really good manoeuvre there. Started on the way into Druids, and now he's having a look at second place as well. So that's just being greedy. He slots in behind, and as they go down towards the left-hander at Surtees. Oh, hang on, what's gone wrong here? A huge amount of smoke on the Brabham Straight, where it's just clearing now. What happened?
It's the car here. It's Jason Zennis's car. The Peugeot has, by the look of things, expired in a pretty significant way by the look of things. So,
oh goodness, yeah.
That's a car that was going really well at Donington Park and then unfortunately retired. And you can see the steam stroke smoke that's coming out of the exhaust pipes of that car. I think some of the engine internals have decided they want to be external.
Yeah, that's smoke, isn't it? And I think I can almost smell it from here. And we're all the way up in the commentary tower as one of the marshals goes over to have a look at the car. The Go on.
A little bit of the contact, I think there, just the lightest of touches between Stuart Waite and Carl Catliff, and Carl Catliff has eventually been able to sneak through into second place, but for a split second both of them got a little bit squirrely heading round through Druids Corner, but Carl Catliff is through and ahead of what was the car of Stuart Waite that has now dropped down into third position all of the time, whilst out front and leading is Nigel Ennis, and they're starting to get amongst some of the slower traffic now as well, aren't they? So this potentially is going to be a catalyst for change here as over the start finish line goes our race leader Nigel Ennis. Of course, we've got yellow flags on the Brabham Straight, so there's no overtaking, and as the field work their way through and past the slower traffic up towards Paddock Hill Bend they'll go. They're now on lap number 7 with 9 minutes to go, and well, Stuart Waite has just lost another place there, hasn't he, because it looks as though the orange car in the hands of Stuart Pearson has gone through and gained a position.
Well, it was very close between them, wasn't it, as they came across the line, and Ennis led at the end with an advantage of 3.1 seconds. So we need to keep a good eye on what that advantage is at the end of the next lap, as the number 1, 2, 3 car, 6 laps are in the book. The advantage 3.1 seconds from the second place car of Carl Catliff, recovering after that not such a good start as the cars around him made at the start of the race. Off the line, it's no green flag lap. They're on treaded tyres, and they don't have the opportunity of getting heat into the tyres on a green flag lap. And it was the best of the starts was made by Stuart Waite without any doubt at all. And as we wait to see them conclude lap number 7, it's Ennis that's completed the lap. 3.3 seconds the advantage over Catliff. Waite in 3rd place, Pearson in 4th place, Stamp in 5th place, Osborne in 6th place, and now the top 11 are all through, and it's John Wilcox in a class of his own, quite literally in a class of his own. He's the only one in his class in 11th place in car number 100. So 7 laps completed. Number 1, 2, 3 is the car that leads. That's Nigel Ennis from pole position.
Yep, so Nigel Ennis leading by a pretty comfortable margin, isn't he? He can just afford to take his time as he picks his way through some of the slower traffic on the Brabham Straight. The next car that he needs to dispatch a lap down is going to be the Lexus of Matthew Newman, car number 70, which currently occupies what is 20th position. It's thereafter, isn't it, that we start to see that the close battles coming on. Since Stuart Waite's lost those places, he sort of seems to have settled back in, doesn't he, again now? He lost 2 places in quick succession. What have you got, Alan?
I think I had Carl Catliff. I'm pretty sure that's Carl Catliff that was getting past a slower car.
He has, yeah.
And made contact and has gone off. It looked like him, and they're in the gravel on the outside of the turn-in for the exit of Druids Corner. Yeah,
you can see damage to the front end of his car, and it's one of the BMWs, isn't it, that he's made contact with. Can't quite identify whom that
37?
is.
37?
Could be 37, yeah, absolutely. Or 17, maybe.
Or 17.
Yeah.
But
well, there's Carl Catliff walking
that's
away.
That's a significant one, yeah.
He's not in the gravel, is he? He's got damage to the front end of his car, and the other BMW has gone into the gravel and might have just made a little bit of contact with the tail end of the slower car into the barriers, possibly. Neither of them in a particularly safe place either.
No, they're not. They will need to be moved. One snugly up the rear of the car, up towards the tyre barrier, and it all just got a little bit too... Carl Catliff was driving with incredible determination, wasn't he? He wasn't going to be held up, and that was, we mentioned it earlier on today, when you maybe not get such a good start or have an unfortunate opening lap, then the red mist does really push you on for the rest of the race. But maybe that was just a little bit too eager to get past one of the slower cars. And up at Druids Corner, we'll find out a story, I'm sure, as the weekend unfolds. But at the moment, the car is stricken, and it's there on the outside of Druids.
Yeah, he just set the fastest lap of the race, didn't he, Carl Catliff, before that happened. Side by side, we are over the start-finish line. This is for what will be 2nd and 3rd position. Stuart Waite making sure that he hangs on to the position. Stephen Pearson looking to try and work the orange BMW up into 2nd place. Couldn't do it there. Won't be able to attempt to do it on the run-up towards Druids because of the waved yellow flags that are there. So it's still Waite that's 2nd. Stephen Pearson that's there in 3rd position. Darren Stamp at the wheel of the black and Dayglow car sits there in 4th place. They're a long, long way adrift of Nigel Innes, who is now, what, the best part of almost 8.5 seconds up the road, but equally as much, they've got a big old gap, haven't they, between themselves and then the next of the cars that sits there in 5th position. It's the first non-BMW we've got in the field as well, which is Peter Osborne's Vauxhall Astra VXR. He sits there in 5th position. 6th place is number 9, Brian Jones. 7th place is the Ford Fiesta of Cliff Pellin. Then it's Roger Kneebone, Len Colley and John Wilcox that complete the top 10. The leading production BMW, by the way, in the field is currently down in what is 14th position, that being kart number 6 in the hands of Mark Palmer.
I still love when you see a car out on a race circuit with a registration number on it. It's a very cool thing, and not so cool when it's in the gravel trap, it must be said, but recovery taking place, a live recovery taking place up at Druids, and as soon as that is complete, then Druids will be back in action, so to speak, because at the moment it's pretty much an isolated zone on the circuit while that recovery is taking place of 2 cars. One of them has still got the fastest lap, Carl Catlett, 53.891. 4 minutes of the race remaining. Nigel Innes continues to lead, and Stuart Waite, who got an absolutely blistering start, is still there in 2nd place, and his disadvantage has gone out by about a second on that lap, so 2.669 of a second behind in the traffic, really not getting the best run of the traffic. The race leader, Nigel Innes, getting a very good run on that lap, so continues to lead and consolidates his lead as well.
Yeah, I think the gap's ebbing and flowing between the two of them, yeah, because largely because Stuart Waite there met a slower back marker just as he got to the yellow flag zone, and a couple of times that's happened, and every time he's done absolutely the right thing. Sit behind the slower car, do not overtake until you've gone past the green flag, and as soon as he's past it, he's able to apply the throttle and squirt his way back through. Up towards the conclusion of another lap they come. There are just 3 minutes remaining on the clock, so I have a feeling we still might be under yellow flags when the checkered flag comes out here in this first of 2 races for the Toyo Tyres Racing Saloons. Over the start-finish line comes our race leader. Nigel Innes leads the race. We've still got Stuart Waite and Stephen Pearson pretty much together on the run up towards Paddock Hill Bend, but it is still the largely white and black number 1 car of Stuart Waite that hangs on to the position. Stephen Pearson is not going to be able to work his way through because they're heading up into that yellow flag zone again, and as they do so, are they closing in on the race leader? Let's have a quick look. No, visually to the eye I thought they'd close the gap.
It did look like it, I agree.
It's come out by 2/10, hasn't it?
It has, yeah, 2.869 of a second. Carl Catlett is now back at the wheel of his car trying to assist in the recovery of the vehicle, and you can see that he's still really upset about coming to grief in the gravel over there at Druids. His car is now just going out of shot, being recovered, but he's at the wheel of it and assisting in the recovery of that car. And you're quite right, with only 2 minutes and 10 seconds of this race remaining, we're still going to be actively recovering the car, the one remaining car up at Druids by checkered flag. So we've just got the indication there on the screen. Checkered flag has gone out.
Yeah, it's come out with what was still a couple of minutes remaining on the clock, but on the basis of that we've got this incident out there that's still in the process of getting sorted, and it means that probably the best overtaking part of the circuit is currently under yellow. Sensible decision in some respects. Let's bring the yellow flag out, or replace it with the checkered flag, and chalk up a win, the first win this season for Nigel Innes in the Toyo Tyres Racing Saloon. So that's what some 5 races we've had. We've had 3 different winners in this series so far. It's not a championship, there are no championship points, it's just a series of one-off races in reality. Car number 123, Nigel Innes, claims victory by 2.25 seconds in the end from number 1, which is Stuart Waite. 3rd is where we find car number 3, which is Stephen Pearson. 4th position goes the way of number 45, Darren Stamp. 5th place is the first non-BMW home, car number 177, which is the Vauxhall in the hands of Peter Osborne. And 6th place is number 9, Brian Jones. 7th is 161, Cliff Pellin. In 8th place is number 10, Roger Kneebone. 9th place is 100, John Wilcox. And completing the top 10 is the Jaguar XJS, car number 139 of Chris Boone. In 11th position, that's where we see the number 39 car of Mike Collins, who worked his way from the very tail end of the field because he qualified out of session. So that was a good number of places, ticked off, what, 18 places he gained there? So good work by Mike Collins, car number 39, who finished in 11th place. 12th place will be car number 145, David Hunt. 13th place will be number 78, which is James Salmon. 14th place and winning his class, because we'll see the class winners on the podium for this one, is Mark Palmer in the number 6 car. Then it's Andy Gay, who finished in 15th position, number 62. 16th place was car number 110, and that is the car of Sam Strong. 17th place was car number 350, Jamie Jeffrey. Then 18th position was the Mini in the hands of Richard Ibrahim. Car number 141. 19th place was number 770, which is Matthew Newman. And completing the top 20, also winning his class, is where we will see Carl Graves at the wheel of the BMW 1 Series Diesel.
First of all, our winner of Class G onto the podium, Carl Graves onto the podium. Well done, Carl, congratulations. Standing by on the podium to make that presentation of a silver trophy, and it's in his hand, well done, and a bottle of bubbly as well. And then to our overall winner, and the winner in Class A, Nigel Innes, congratulations, well done, Nigel. Onto the podium he goes, and big cheer for him as well, and lots of smiles over there on the other side of the pit lane. Gets his trophy and a bottle of bubbly as well. Does that mean, James, that they can hoover up all the champagne, or does it not quite work like that? Right, okay, very good. Well done, guys. No, just one bottle each, I'm afraid. Nigel, come down and have a very quick chat to us before we get the race underway. First of all, tell us about the start. It wasn't the best start, but it was a very good start.
I can't complain. Yeah, I see those on me quite quickly. I don't know what quite happened to two cars behind me.
Stuart Waite got an incredibly good start.
I thought I'd see a white car very close to me. I was expecting to see Carl there, but it was Stuart.
Yeah, it was, and Carl dropped back and then managed to close up, and I think had a bit between his teeth, really, as he was making his way through the field.
Yeah, that's Carl. Yeah, he's a hard charger.
He really was.
Yeah, I was expecting him to pass me at some point, but he didn't.
But you can't get too bogged down looking in the mirrors and worrying about what everybody else has done, because you had an important job to work your way through traffic, because that part of the race, that phase of the race happens pretty quickly, doesn't it?
It does. I was quite concerned when I started seeing the yellows. I thought, oh, have I, passed someone on the yellow? But it was a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah, there's so much to think about. It's a big grid. You don't get a green flag lap, do you?
Yeah, you're trying to get your braking points right and looking out for yellows at the same time, and the other class cars you're passing, it's a lot to look out for.
Can I just say as well, your car is absolutely beautiful. It's a real nod to the past, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's a copy of a original 90s touring car. They were the best days for me, so I copied it.
It's absolutely gorgeous. It really is. And a quick word with Carl. Take us through your race, Carl.
Yeah, it was fairly simple for me. I just got going and kept out of trouble, which is fairly good. And being me in the 120 diesel, which we're sort of trying to progress into the next production BMW class, so that we can take that on and bring on. So it's a good-looking car.
It's a really nice car, yeah.
But can I just say and call the marshals that have come today, and without them we wouldn't be racing, and all the staff that are here supporting us.
Top man, Carl.
Thank you.
Yeah, top man. Thank you very much indeed. Yeah, we reiterate that. Thank you, guys. Thank you for a very nice podium. It only takes two to have a race, and it only takes two to have a podium. Two nice interviews there from our race winner, Nigel Innes, and also our G-Class winner, Carl Graves.